Our love is in limbo. It exists in a place where it can't be free. Imprisonment is what this is, because I belong to you and you belong to me. And if earth is really hell, then this is purgatory. Because we've been suffering in silence while we violently chase replacements and substitutes of what simply cannot do what we do for each other. How do you let go when you're still in love with a lover? I was watching The Word the other day, and Pastor asked, is the person you love pushing you closer to God or further away? So then I had to pray like, Lord, my love for him is pure, unfiltered, unconditional. I've tried to stay and I've tried to leave. And despite what I feel in my heart, you know what's best for me. One thing's for certain and two things for true. I don't trust a soul, but God, I trust you. So give me a sign, make it clear, just tell me what to do. Then send me confirmation and I will follow you. You know what made me pray? Not for me to keep you, but if we weren't meant for him to take you away. I remember one night, it was like 2 a.m. I was listening to Tiller. With tears in my eyes, pain couldn't get any realer, thinking, this is the closest I'll ever get to hearing you say the words I need to hear. Lord, please save her for me. Do this one favor for me. But you ever think about what you did, that you would pray to a God you only acknowledge when you're in distress? I tried to keep you in check so I didn't have to teach you a lesson. But nights like those were such a blessing, because until a man heals himself, he'll be toxic to every woman who tries to love him. And you just out here infecting bitches with your disease, including me. You see with your human eyes what lies right in front of you, too blind for the bigger picture. That if you and I would have been any more of a perfect mixture, I would be right there with you at the center of my world. And then before I cared to, I would have had your baby girl. I want a son. And you would have been too broken to realize I was the unhappy one. And the day would have come where I looked at you with resentment and me with disappointment, because I wasted being anointed and my selfish years became selfless years before I could have been appointed. I know that loving me shouldn't have to be an absence of loving you. But you did this. You made me choose. My purpose will never wake up and tell me it doesn't love me anymore. I will never be broken up with by my bank account or cheated on by my grind. And I will never go so hard with my gifts to find out God was lying about everything he has in store for me. Like, you ain't seen a thing yet, there's more for me. So leaving I don't regret. I worked my whole life to be great. So if that means separate from any and everyone, that's what I'll do. And it doesn't change the fact that I love you. See, the thing about love, though, is the wrong love could be used as a distraction. And going back and forth, that's all this has been. Trying to get through to you, I'm getting tired of watching you pretend to prove you're living higher to the blogs full of critics whose truth is too much of a lie to even know what's real. Or better yet, make me feel any kind of way about him who is mine. But honey, I'm trying to make you see that if they really knew you even an ounce as much as me, they would attribute your high life to the ounces of the weed. And it's not only your smoke that's loud, but your hurt and your screams behind every forced smile and all the funny memes. They would know that's the bullshit that you do. Because you are not you when you're with any of them. You said it, not me. And truthfully, I can see you're just balancing out your lows by hopelessly doing exactly what you know. Yet I still don't want to be the one to say, I told you so. It is the loose ends with which men hang themselves. It's been years. How long are we going to mistake movement for achievement? I believe you when you say those words to get me back, you mean it. But I know you well enough to know it's rare you do for long what you said. You're content with being where you are. I'm so far ahead. And although I'm in the future, I'm passing from behind. You're Eastern Standard, I'm Pacific time, meaning I've got more tick-tock on my clock before I get to you. So living my very best life is what I intend to do. I never said you weren't the one. God hasn't yet either. But what good is God's word to a non-believer? So I'm still here, dealing with your temper. But you've ignored my screams as if they were whispers. And not one is from a writer who goes to war with her words like, this is not a library. You can't silence me. I am an open book for you. I demand that you read. And when you don't, I take 2 steps with a vengeance towards someone who will. To subsequently take 1 back because they don't make me feel how you do. But whether or not they can compare to you, if we can't get out of our own way, use our free will, maybe make the Lord a deal that you could stand alone and work on you, and I could do the things that he's called me to do while we stay in love, then this ain't for us. And will be another sad love story about how the timing wasn't right and how patience is a virtue you learned in hindsight. But now the girl you call the love of your life, your wife, is in the family photos of somebody else, making a king out of someone else. That diamond ring I do to somebody else. First gender reveal, is it pink or blue, with somebody else. That how many licks does it take, boo, on somebody else, when she didn't want to be for nobody else except God first, herself, then you. And you made that decision, trying to see and control the future without God vision.